Hey everyone, I'm Will,
And I'm Caleb.
and we are talking about comments on our podcast from last week. That podcast is entitled The Retrek Review, where we talk about Star Trek Weekly. So let's get straight into the comments.
They're hailing us. Hailing frequencies open.
Captain, we're receiving 285,000 hails.
I wish I knew what to tell them.
So we start off with a comment from Daystrom Review. They commented on our Skin of Evil podcast. And they say, I can finally stop holding my breath or laugh whenever Caleb expresses eagerness to learn more about Natasha Yar.
That's true.
I've been watching Next Gen for literally decades at this point, but I only realized her name was Natasha in the last 8 months.
Yeah. That's really funny. It's like, yeah, I've been watching Next Gen for like my whole life. And then when you guys started season 1, I was like, who the heck is this?
Well, now he knows.
Yeah.
Denise Crosby said if they wrote her character with more dialogue like they gave her, Worf Tasha, at the start of the episode, she wouldn't be inclined to quit, which makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Tasha's foresight in placing the Windows XP background for her funeral was really commendable.
That is true.
Troy's biggest hurdle to overcome is not anything about her character, but the individuals who write her character lacking the emotional maturity required for someone like Troy.
Captain, I see you're feeling sad.
Yes, I am.
You should probably take some time off.
No.
Okay. Carry on.
Then next we have a comment on the same episode, Skin of Evil, by Captain Olimar. He says, random tar monster. This episode sucked, in my opinion. If Tasha didn't die in the episode, it would be completely skippable.
Skip it.
I found the episode super boring. It's just the crew dealing with the devil again. I get Denise's frustrations with the show, and I sympathize, but her position on the show is much better filled by Worf.
Ooh.
That's a hot take.
Got him.
And then he says, of course Gene was upset. He lost his blonde on the show. Did you know she did Playboy once?
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, she's gonna leave my show, huh? I'll show her.
He said, I struggled. He says, I struggled to make it through the episode this week, and it's not going to get any better. Upside down smiley face.
Oh, that's good to hear.
Thanks for the episode, as always, guys, and special guest Adri.
Yay.
And then I commented to him, I think the reason why Adri and I enjoyed it was because you, Caleb, haven't experienced this episode for the first time, so we were curious to see how you responded to it.
Yeah. It's all a big social experiment on me, basically.
Yes, exactly. The social experiment review. Yeah. So we did that, and then so he ended up following up with saying, it probably doesn't help that I'm watching Scott Bakula's Enterprise, and it's so much better than season 1 Next Gen so far.
Yeah, no kidding.
He says, I liked your points that there are glimpses of what makes Next Gen great. Picard and Data talking about death and some good interactions with Troy. So
yeah, you know why season 1 isn't good? Because anything else that you watched is better.
And then we got a comment from my office, but I can't find it on YouTube. And I can't find it in YouTube Studio. I can only find it on this other app that I use.
That's fun.
So
I've had that happen, yeah.
Hopefully he didn't write it and then delete it. And I can still see it.
Yeah.
I don't think there was anything in here that
YouTube would have just hid.
The only word I can think of is the word lynch, but he's talking about the character.
Nope, that's
But even in my YouTube Studio, there's no comments held.
Yeah.
There's no blocked comments.
No. Yeah, no, sometimes it just hides it permanently.
So he says, Yar she blows. Let's pour one out.
No, I don't. That's alcohol abuse.
Then he says, Ooh la la.
Ooh la la.
A nice little moment between Worf and Yar brought up that there's 24th century gambling.
What?
How does that work?
There's no money, so you
Yeah.
tell me.
What is the pool for the 24th century? More holodeck time?
Yep, you get to go to Paris
Ooh,
in
nice.
the holodeck.
Yep. This fantasy world. Lieutenant Commander Leland T. Lynch, Chief Engineer of the Week. Totally agree with Caleb. Sort of a revolving door there.
Yeah,
Maybe if they had a regular chief engineer, these kinds of crazy issues wouldn't happen.
it starts from the top.
That's true. It's always Picard's fault.
It's always Picard's fault. It's bad commanding. He doesn't put anybody down there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's always good to anything that goes wrong on the show, always blame Picard. No
Yeah,
other reason.
good. I will.
I also caught the same thing as Will. I'm sorry. William P. McDougal. Why does Lynch keep using his full name?
Yeah,
How how would you like to be the guy playing Armus? All that goop and glop. After
yeah.
watching him shift around on the ground, I think they probably could have used Armus to filter out the photosphere of the sun on the view screen.
That's good. I would rather be Armis than Riker in that episode.
Oh yeah,
At least
100%.
Armis got to wear like a tarp over him and then put all that crap on it.
Absolutely. Yeah, he totally
Riker was
took.
just they just dunked Riker's head under it.
Yeah, they were like, "There you go, buddy."
All right, jump in.
This sequence was crazy. Yar gets fruit roll up on her face. Then, what's Yar's condition? We'll
Dead.
tell you right after we finish staring at her. Oops, she died.
Oh man, lost another one. Yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad.
The fruit roll, that's good. That's a good way to describe it. It's
It's
just so
also like the
lame.
Gushers logo, right?
Well, that's why I keep calling it the Splatoon because it's very much like the
Yeah,
splats from that game.
it's true. It's true. I do like that they establish real stakes. Armis meant business. Not often you see a primary cast member die, but there was no urgency with her situation. Why not try
Mm-mm.
to emergency transport right away?
Good.
Armis, sadistic, truly evil. I wish we knew more about these titans that he came from. I found it fascinating that rage is what weakens him and his ability to interfere when rage is also what fuels him.
Mm.
But there could be an argument made here that they're saying confronting slash dealing with things that hurt us emotionally ultimately makes us weaker. I don't think that's what
Yeah.
they were trying to convey, but it is something that stuck in my mind.
No, that makes too much sense. Plus, that's a very human emotion.
Humor.
And as you know, these are crazy alien guys. They look nothing like us. Their feelings are nothing like us.
They don't know what anything is.
They don't know nothing.
Congrats to Worf on the promotion, though terrible circumstances.
Yeah.
Gets right to work and already seems to be making better decisions than Yar.
Hmm.
Then he writes, Amuse me. Nice use of Troy as a foil to Armus. Two individuals that can feel the emotions of others facing off. A psychological game.
Yeah.
It was enjoyable to see the two go back and forth. Caleb caught this as well. When the crew runs up to see Riker sucked into the goo, Geordi dropped his phaser and Armus. But he has it
Yep.
back next scene, totally clean. Continuity error.
Yep. They just were hoping nobody saw it. That's all.
And then here's the part that you were talking about. How about having that crap in your mouth or being covered in it?
Hmm.
You know some
Yeah.
had to get in Jonathan Frakes' mouth after Armus gave birth to him on the sand.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Totally agree, poor guy. Yeah. It's rough. Like it's It's really bad. Like you said, Gates McFadden is just like shoving it in his eyes and his nose when she's
Yeah, she
cleaning.
doesn't really do any favors by like wiping it off. She just makes it worse. Real
Nice
bad.
moments with Tasha and the crew, but I agree with Caleb here. Do all officers record these in advance?
Yep, and they only do a private screening for 4 people.
And they only talk to those 4 people.
Yep. Ah, well.
Ah, well.
Wouldn't it be funny if she's like, yeah, Phil in engineering, you were my favorite. You and I, we had so many good times and laughs, and
Yeah.
everyone's just like, who the frick is Phil in engineering?
Yeah.
You'll
Oh,
see next week. He's promoted to chief. He'll be promoted to chief next week.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Uh,
If so, then when? She obviously had observations about her relationship with the crew. I can't figure out when an officer would do something like this. Thanks to Will for the research on the trivia section, some stuff I knew and some I didn't, but it was all very interesting to hear. And and then this part got me. Excellent review, and it was nice to see Adri, the Metamucil expert, in the mix. I appreciated having her perspective on things. You all taught me that I can be a Star Trek fan and not lose anything. Thanks as always.
That is good. That is a
Yeah,
good line.
yeah,
Oh man, I don't know.
yeah.
I'm a Star Trek fan. I feel like I've lost everything. I've lost my mind mostly. That's good. That's a good
Oh yeah, it's very good. It's quite excellent. And then Daystrom Review did exactly what you wanted,
Oh no.
um, Caleb. He went back and commented on some of our TOS videos.
Oh no.
And he said on our arena episode,
Oh no.
glistening manboy lover General Blue.
Wow. Well,
Yep,
that's a deep cut.
that's a
That's a
real deep
deep
cut.
cut. Oh man. I don't
It
remember
was,
asking for that in the comments.
I think glistening manboy definitely was, isn't it?
Yes.
It
Man,
was interesting to
that's
see
good.
the writers bring up Starfleet's encroachment on Gorn territory as the reason for the destruction of the settler colonists. It's extremely TOS to write, well, we did mess up with our imperialism last week, but we are the adult in the room and we won't murder anymore.
Yeah, we're sorry.
That feels unlikely for Picard to make a speech like that. Next Gen seems more interested in saying, well, we used to be like that, but now we're evolved, while
Yeah.
also doing the gunboat diplomacy stuff.
They're like, hey, what do you want from us? We got rid of France, Like
Yeah.
we're all human. To err is human.
The Gorn's behavior isn't completely out of line when put next to the Tellarite or Zindi before joining the Federation. The Klingons and Romulans both have fairly militaristic policies, so the Gorn seeking to impose heavy tolls on trespassers isn't entirely alien. And then, from what I know of early human gunpowder experiments, it's really unfortunate the episode didn't finish with Kirk needing to regenerate a new hand after blowing his off entirely at the wrist. A diamond tipped spear wouldn't have been any harder to make.
No. And in fact, the Mythbusters have busted the fact that you can't make gunpowder like from scratch without like a milling
Yeah.
like thing. So you definitely couldn't do it with just a rock.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Plus the bamboo would blow apart. It wouldn't hold a
Yeah.
pressure
None
charge.
of that would work.
Everything about it really.
And then they commented on our Trouble with Tribbles episode. I am totally okay with Star Trek making the Klingons more than vaguely dark-skinned Mongolian Asian type stereotypes. The biggest plot hole in Star Trek is that no alien has ever harnessed Tribbles for perpetual motion, power, construction material, biological warfare. The possible uses for these creatures is infinite. Just imagine how many trillions of tribbles you could burn to fly your vessels.
Wow. That's really good. Yeah, I enjoy that. Now, I enjoy that as someone who has played a lot of Subnautica,
I
and
see.
one of the power generators for your base, like early on, is a bio generator. So you just like swim out and collect all these fish and throw the fish in the
Oh.
generator, and they just breaks it down into like bio generation. Yeah. So I enjoy that. I think you're missing out on stuff, you know?
Guess so. And then he talks about the credits line. He says the most memorable credits line in Star Trek TOS is from Cat's Paw. DeSalle says, maybe we can't break it, but I'll bet you credits to Navy beans, we can put a dent in it. I think in that episode we were talking about credits or something. I think you were asking about, like, how are they buying things in Star Trek, right?
Yeah.
Like, credits aren't really a thing.
With Imperial pressed credits, steel.
Yep. Yeah. Yep.
And Beskar and Vulcan trinkets.
So those were generally the comments for the last week. We had 2 on our previous Hailing Frequencies Open series. I thought they were worth mentioning.
I like when we review comments from the show about comments. That's my favorite.
That is my favorite too.
Yeah.
Zaystrom Review says, welcome to another episode of Zaystrom's comments are too long for our regular show.
It's not just you.
I feel so called out for commenting on old TOS episodes.
Wow, that's Inception right there.
Yeah. He goes, and what do you mean? Nobody dies in finale episodes. TOS killed Starfleet's dignity in the last episode when they announced women couldn't be captains.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
And then we had a really nice comment from Ed Starr on our Hailing Frequencies Open series. He says, let me be an echo.
He doesn't have to comment on these.
He says, let me be an echo. This really is a great idea. Love spending time with all the comments. Carry on.
Cool. Well, that's nice.
Yeah, very nice.
We enjoy it.
Well, that was the comments for the week. We appreciate you all doing that. It's really great. Obviously, this was fun. It makes Caleb and I laugh. You guys give us things to think about, and we don't feel like we have to rush and get through things. So it's good.
Yeah, it's fun. And it makes Will and I feel like we don't just talk into the void of space.
Yeah.
And it keeps me accountable. That's the other good thing.
It keeps me. Well, before we end the episode, we're going to do the thing that's so popular this week.
This is popular, so popular. This is popular this week.
So the top post from the Enterprise subreddit by user Wetness Pensive.
Oh, what?
They say anyone else once hated this show, but now likes it. They say I was disappointed with Discovery and Picard, and so decided to revisit Enterprise, which I always viewed as a weak series.
Oh, get lost.
But
Get lost.
in my opinion, time has been kind to it, and its first season now seems very strong. I'm up to episode 16, and I'd say only TOS has a better first season.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah. No kidding. I mean, I haven't seen everything, but like,
Yeah.
this first season is real bad in the next gen. So to put that up with anything like TOS and Enterprise, it's like not even.
Yeah.
So this is my thing too, is like, so by episode like 3, I mean, I guess it's not fair because like TOS, I always knew, like, even not being
Yeah.
like really involved in it, like, you know, Kirk, Spock, and McCoy. I mean, you just
Right.
you grow up knowing them. But like Enterprise, I watched that first episode and I was like hooked.
Yeah.
So by like episode 4, I knew everybody's name.
Right.
You know, I already had like favorites. I already had like Tucker was my favorite. And now here we are, we got 2 episodes left of Next Gen, and I can't distinguish Deanna
And
and Yar, because I always think like it's Deanna and
yeah.
then Troy is the other one. But her name is Deanna Troy.
Yes.
Got it. And the other one is Tasha Yar. Yeah. And I can't distinguish either of them. And it's just like I don't know why that is. So even like in Enterprise, like Hoshi isn't like a pivotal main character every week.
Right.
But like I know Hoshi.
Yeah.
Like I know her role. I don't know. That's just been the weirdest thing about the next gen is like you have the formula. It's just why are we not using the formula?
I agree.
It's so weird. And I think that's why I always come back to like the bridge setup is weird to me because it's like you have the captain chair, you have number one, and you have Deanna. And it's like, why do they sit next to each other? Like I don't get it. I
Yeah.
don't get it. It's captain, pilot, nav, and then security comes. It's like it's set up. It's we have the formula, Will. We have the formula. What are
Yeah.
we doing?
I know.
All right, Data, take us out. Okay, hold my hands. It's just so weird to me. I don't know. I don't get it, but it's not
Well,
going to change. So
Next Gen does totally break away from that because in Enterprise, the first officer is either considered T'Pol or Tucker, depending on
yeah,
what's going on the ship, but typically it's T'Pol. But she
yeah.
serves also as the science officer,
She's a science officer. Yeah.
or he serves as the chief engineer, right?
Yeah, and I believe any member of Starfleet should be able to do any job on the ship. That's where I stand too.
Yes.
So like, captain's doing something like, Tucker should be able to captain the ship or pilot the ship or all that kind of stuff. He should be able to open comms. It should be very
Yep.
you should know these jobs.
I agree.
But like Riker, like what's
Well,
his
that's what I think.
actual
So that's what I was saying was, so then you move to TOS and Spock is the first officer, but he's the science officer, and also Scotty is third officer and he's the chief engineer.
Yeah.
So, like, again, they have high positions with the
Yeah.
captain, but they do secondary roles. Now you
Yeah.
move to TNG to
But it
next
also
gen.
makes sense that like an engineer and a science guy know
Yes,
the ship in and out and space. Like that makes sense for them to be one and two and three.
you're right. But now you go to next gen, and Riker is the first officer, and that's it. He
Doesn't do
doesn't
anything else.
have a secondary role. And you
Yeah,
look
I know.
at,
He's basically a security officer.
right, basically. And then you look at Deanna, she's a counselor. That's why she's like in a kind of weird uniform, besides the fact of making her
Yeah.
sex icon.
Well, yeah.
But
They don't
like
do that moving
those
forward
two
though.
people are more like Picard's consensus area.
It's like his soundboard.
His soundboarding. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And everybody else has roles. Like Data is third in command, but he's at operations.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and he takes place as like the walking computer science guy.
right. So that's where like you're saying, that's where next gen really departs from it is the first officer doesn't have like a secondary thing. He's
Yeah.
like, yeah, he technically does a lot of security things.
Yeah,
And yeah, but it's like, it's really, he's just like, he's a reason for Picard to not go and do stuff, basically.
yeah.
Because Picard isn't
Yeah.
like Kirk and Archer. He's not a go get him, beam down, shoot phasers kind of guy. He stays on the ship and tells other people what to do. That's very his character.
Yeah, and I don't mind that. I don't think that's bad.
No.
I think that's kind of like what as the commander, In Strange New Worlds, like Luna is number one, but she's also like security, like head of
Yes,
security.
right.
It's just
Yeah.
weird.
Well, I think it just boils back to the fact that we've talked about before is like Gene Roddenberry wanted everything to be different from the original series.
Yeah, but that doesn't make sense, like story wise, though.
No. Nope. And it's like it's fun. It's fun to have a lot of people and a lot of variety and a lot of different characters to get to understand, but they don't do that. They have like 8 people on the bridge, and then you focus on 2 of them.
Yeah.
You think to yourself, how is the next generation a good series? Like, why would anybody like it? And like, you look at it then in the future context, like, how is the next generation the golden era where they launch literally the entire Star Trek franchise
Yeah,
when it's
I
like
don't know.
this bad in season one, right? So the reality is that stuff changes,
Roddenberry leaves.
right?
I mean, that
And
has to be what it is.
well, pretty much.
So he leaves kind of like during season 2.
He ended up leaving as head writer towards the end of season one.
Okay.
And then he's still kind of around, I think, until
Well, his lawyer's still there, so
you're right. I think
his
he's
head
still
writer is
around
there.
until like almost season three. But it's
Mm.
kind of like a background thing. He's
Yeah,
not as
yeah, yeah.
prominent.
But yeah, because I remember you saying like, so the TOS movies came out like during season 2 or 3, basically, of Next Gen.
Yeah, the fifth movie and the sixth movie come out while Next Gen is on TV.
That's crazy. Well, we'll always have TOS.
That's right. That's right.
I think I said this before, but it's so funny to me that like when we were doing this and I went from like Enterprise to TOS, I was like, I don't know if I can do that. Like just garbage 60s TV. And now
Yeah.
it's like we're finishing the first season of Next Gen. And I'm like, I really wish I was watching TOS like instead. Like I miss the crew. What was this? This comment was about this guy. He likes Enterprise now.
Yeah, he basically didn't like the newer Star Trek series, and now he likes Enterprise after giving it some time.
Yeah, Enterprise is
He,
great.
they say what I like so far are the mundane, low-key plots and the attention to character building. Anything to do with the temporal Cold War, in contrast, has been mostly very weak.
I like the temporal Cold War stuff way more than the Zindi stuff.
Oh yeah, 100%. No
And the
doubt there.
the Daystrom review was talking to me on Discord about that, like why I don't like the Zindi stuff. And it's like I do like the Zindi stuff at first,
Yes.
but the whole last season is nothing but Zindi stuff. And it just drags on and on and on. And it
It's
just becomes too much.
it's funny in my look back. Let's say now you and I decided to do Star Trek stuff, and I was like, "Oh," you were like, "Yeah, you know what? I'd like to get into Star Trek." I honestly, retroactively, would start you in TOS, and we would watch
Uh-huh.
TOS, Next Gen, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, and maybe something else, and we
Basically the air, how they aired.
yeah, we would just that would be it. And then I would show you Enterprise, Strange New Worlds, Discovery as a separate timeline because as much as I enjoy Enterprise, there's so much in it that they do that just doesn't ever come
No.
up in other Star Trek.
Well, that's the problem of writing a show 20 years after another show. It's
Yeah,
like
and
it
I
doesn't make sense. Characters aren't referenced. It's just, yeah.
right. And I think the beautiful thing of it is that it easily plays great into the temporal Cold War, like changing the past.
Yeah, because Jeffrey Dean Morgan got that
That's
comms buoy working.
right. He certainly did.
I mean, alien Nazis. I mean, come on. It's pretty great stuff.
Yeah, I mean they already have alien Nazis in TOS, but they just look like humans. So then we have another post in the subreddit of TOS from KKCan 2020, and it
I'm
says if
looking
the
at it.
shuttlecraft Galileo were scaled correctly.
Oh my God. Yeah.
It's
It's a really good edit.
a very good edit, right?
Wow.
It's like
Impressive.
upsettingly
That's
how good it
impressive.
is. I have to assume that that first shot is like from the episode, and then they went and found a separate image of the side of the Galileo, and then just cut that and then like over like superimposed it. You know what I mean?
The problem is that like scaling it up like that is easy, but you have to crop and cut out like
Yeah.
Kirk and Spock so that you can put that behind them.
Yep.
Wow, that's
Yep.
pretty good. But yeah, that's a pretty big shuttle ship.
I mean,
Now,
it's absolutely massive.
yeah, it's huge. Like production wise, do you think this is a fully built, or you think this is just like one side?
Oh, it's probably one side.
Like if you go to the backside, it's just like 2x4s, like scaffolding holding it up. It's just a
Yeah,
big
probably.
plywood.
They probably have like a little cubby hold, like a treehouse thing. If the door is open and they have to go inside, they probably have just enough so that like the actors can possibly go inside,
Yeah.
or they just have like some stuff built so it looks like an interior thing. But
I
I think it's just
I think we've only ever seen them like inside the shuttle set and like the door of the shuttle from the inside, like opening. Because they like lower it with like the
yeah.
and they go out of it, and I don't think you see like the full thing.
No, I don't think we get a nice clean in and out. I think there are shots of them coming out of it and like with the door and everything, but again, I think it's like you know how like sitcom shows that people like the kids run upstairs, but they're just running up to like a platform and
Yeah, they're
just
coming
standing
up
there
there. Yeah.
until their line comes back up and then they run back downstairs.
Same way like the ladders go down to the
Yes,
reactor.
yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
I like that stuff. I love production stuff like that. It's cool.
It is cool.
The episode that I'm thinking of is the one with the giants that throw the spears.
Oh yeah, the
I think
Galileo
that's the
7.
episode that you mostly see them going in and out of the shuttle
Oh yes, yeah, I would
the
assume so.
most. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean an episode about a shuttle, right? Yeah.
Yeah. We've got to get out of here.
Yeah, so before we end this video, make sure you go over to any of our Retrek review episodes, comment on them, your thoughts, your opinions, your anything that makes you laugh or you think will make us laugh, put it there, and we will find it and talk about it on this series. But in general, we appreciate the likes, you subscribing, you following along, and you generally just caring to hear what we have to say about Star Trek episodes. So it has been really fun doing this. We're glad you guys like it too. We look forward to next week. And until then, hailing frequencies closed.